Okay, so I'm socially impaired, and recently this young lady decided to have a triggered happy meltdown in class in front of everyone, interrupting everything and being just a child. She defends her actions by suggesting that this was a political statement. Now, I am not you, you are you, so you are going to have to figure out what the real truth is at the end of the day. I will certainly give you my commentary, but it's really up to you to make up your own mind. So let's go through the video together.
A classroom confrontation over a President Trump Make America Great Again hat leads to the arrest of a local high school senior. Tonight, this political push and shove may lead to battery charges.
CBS 13's Steve Large is live in El Dorado County, where the tensions flared up in class today. Steve?
Yeah, this certainly wasn't your typical high school English class. Instead, it turned into a lesson in politics and criminal justice.
Go right now, please.
Video shows some of the tension inside this high school classroom. The teacher trying to subdue a fired-up 17-year-old senior, Joanne Butler, hurling curse words after she became enraged at a classmate for wearing a President Trump Make America Great Again hat and grabbed it off his head.
That's a racist and hateful symbol.
No, actually, it's not a racist and hateful symbol. You and yours have just decided to label it as such, and therefore in your own mind it is those things, but in practice it is not those things.
Joanne Butler is now facing 2 counts of battery, one against her classmate and another against her teacher, who deputies say she slapped as he escorted her out of the room.
So she physically assaults one of the students in the classroom for wearing a hat that just promotes the current presidency, and it's also a hat that is adored by millions. Maybe not adored, but a lot of people wear this hat. And then she physically assaults the teacher whose only crime is that he was trying to diffuse the situation, as we want all of our teachers to do. He was simply trying to break it up and prevent it from escalating. She assaulted the teacher for that.
Butler says she made the scene to express her political beliefs.
Maybe just wake people up in some type of way, because it's not cool, the environment that our classroom is in.
There's something wrong with the environment in our classroom, and she is trying to engage politically in order to change that environment for the better. And the way that she goes about it is screaming, throwing a fit, being emotional, interrupting everything, and physically assaulting a student and the teacher. Isn't that just incredible? Like, on one hand, I really want to talk to this person or people like this person and try and understand their way of thought so I can better communicate with them and show them that this actually isn't the way. And like, if you're trying to convince someone of something, you do just that. You actually convince them. You use arguments, logic, reasoning, well thought out criticisms of your opposition, things of that nature. So on one hand, I want to talk to people like this to try and better understand them. But on the other hand, I really feel like maybe they're just too goddamn gone. If you can allow yourself to be that unreasonable, then can I really reason with you? Can we actually have a conversation that would be meaningful? I don't know.
It wasn't handled the way I'd like it.
Her father is now facing the legal impact of his daughter's now alleged criminal act, centered on the political divide across the country.
I don't agree with, grabbing someone's hat and verbally talking to them that way. But as far as the issue being brought up, that maybe this is something that needs to be needs to be brought up.
So he says, oh yeah, I don't like, the way she went about it, but at least now she's bringing something up. Now we're having a conversation. She did the exact opposite. The exact opposite is what she just did. The only people really rooting for her are people that were already very much in her camp. Everyone else is just looking at this from the outside and saying, wow, look how violent and fucked up she is. Look how trigger happy she is. Look how she just has an emotional meltdown like that. What's wrong with her? I don't even know what the fuck. She just has a vendetta against Trump? And that anyone who thinks anything positive about him or promotes him or his candidacy in any way should be physically assaulted, should be attacked, should be screamed at, regardless of the environment. You could be right in class. God forbid it's at a movie theater. Holy shit, that would piss me off. Can you imagine getting ready to watch Infinity War or some shit, and then some fucking SJW nut job decides to just go off, just have this crazy emotional mental breakdown in front of you, in front of everyone, interrupting everything, just so she can have her little tantrum? Jesus Christ.
The school district's clothing policy does allow students to wear political symbols. In a statement, the El Dorado Union High School District wrote, "Student and staff safety is our highest priority, and the UMHS administration will continue to cooperate with the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office as the incident is being investigated."
Please.
Presidential politics heated in a high school English class. Now a student is facing battery charges for a brazen reaction to the president's campaign slogan. And besides her arrest, Joanne Butler was also suspended for a week from school. The DA here will likely decide later this week whether to formally prosecute her.
If you are a father and you find yourself in this situation, then you need to clearly express your negative attitude towards her behavior or their behavior, whichever sex of child is doing such things. And you need to tell them how horribly disappointed you are and how they clearly went against the core values that you have been teaching them all of these years. You need to clearly express to them how physically assaulting a student and the teacher only shows how ugly you are. It's a loudspeaker, and it tells everyone around you that you cannot deal with situations like a grown-up. We're talking about a hat. We're not talking about someone physically assaulting you and then you defend yourself by physically assaulting them. We're talking about you making a giant scene over the fact that someone promoted the idea that he supports the current administration. That is not a crime. And I know, not for a fact, but, as best as one can know without knowing something for a fact, I know that this lady and people like her would flip a shit if they received the exact same treatment for supporting Obama in his time in office. So, when it comes down to it, these people are hypocrites. They do not have principles. They have emotional tantrums. They react. They don't think. They don't hear out other opinions or their opposition. They want to feel like they're right, regardless of whether or not they are actually right. I would like to show you a very quick clip that is not related to this story at all, but it shows, at least somewhat, it shows the general mindset of the people that I am describing. It is how they view their opposition.
But the thing is, you're conflating people who are trying to stop people who are calling for genocide and the murder of, wholesale murder of huge populations of people, immigrants, women, calling for rape. And so these people want to stop that physically in some instances, but largely behind the scenes. I mean, there's more fascists that wear red ties and blue suits and white shirts on boardrooms and on TV shows and everything than are people on the streets. They just confront fascism and neo-Nazis where they're at.
It's that way of just viewing anyone that is not you, who you think might stand against you in certain political climates. This is how a lot of these people view their opposition, their political opposition, which really means anyone who isn't them. And instead of handling it like an adult, like through an exchange of ideas, they handle it through outrage, physical assault, and emotional tantrums. This is absolutely no way to conduct yourself, and the point that never really seems to get across is, and it might even be the most important here, and it is how unbelievably counterproductive this is. This is nothing but counterproductive. All this does, if she had anything to say politically, like, here's very specific things that we should focus on and change for the better, whether she's right or wrong is irrelevant because of how much she hurt whatever she was fighting for. If this woman, I'm assuming, is on the left, Do you think she fights for Medicare for all? A living wage? A New Deal? Ending the wars? Legalizing weed? Where does she fall on those issues? Because I have no idea. Because all I know about this is that she opposes the current administration to such an extent that she will make a giant fucking scene and physically assault people. That's all that I really know about this. That's not helpful. Just another disappointing, terrible person existing on the left who seems to only exist to make the left look bad. That makes things very difficult for people like myself who also exist on the left, who actually fight for very specific policies. It is important that we hold our own accountable. This person can almost guarantee is on the left. She just made the left look bad. And the problem is that she's not alone. There's an army of her who almost seems like their whole goal in life is to just make the left look bad. Because when people do stuff like this, there is no political message that they hear, especially when you don't give them one. All it does is make the left look bad. Now that doesn't mean that the right doesn't try and make the right look bad a lot too, but it's a lot easier to win elections when there's not a whole army of stupid idiots pulling bullshit like this. Stop being morons. If you want to be on the left, fight for very specific issues on the left. If you fight for some things that don't really make sense, then others, including myself, will call you out. That's fine. We'll exchange information. We'll try and break it down, try and make sense out of it. It's good to have an opposition. It's good to have people criticizing you and pointing out what might be wrong with you, because no one's perfect and there is something wrong with you, just like there's something wrong with everyone. It's easy to find out what those things are when people tell you. Sometimes it's hard to sort it out when people give you a lot of false information as well. But at the end of the day, this is how we learn and grow as people. It is good to be criticized. People like this young woman, I believe, very rarely deals with something like that because they attempt to live in an echo chamber. They want to feel like they're right. And the way that you do that is you surround people who with the same mindset, and you just constantly reinforce that idea. That is not the way that you grow as a person. And all they do at the end of the day is make the left look bad. So, I say to these people, like this young woman and her father, I say to you, you make the left look bad. If you want to promote things on the left, then promote ideas and hear out your opposition. At the very least, get the fuck out of your own way.